went outside to hopefully film a fly on a piece of dog poo, but all I got was bumblebees fighting each other in slow motion with a macro lens.
All I want is the perfect camera. All I want is the perfect camera.
So after doing that comparison with the Nikkor 85mm 1.2 versus my little lowly Sony macro 90mm 2.8, I actually really liked the look of this lens. Dare I say there's some pop to it, but there could be a modest 2.8, but it looked good. It looked fantastic. So when I hiked down that mountain, I just kept the Sony with this lens, and I was seeing a bunch of bees and stuff, and so we got a bunch of footage and some weird goofy stuff that I did for some reason. I thought it would be a good idea if I pretended I knew Haritaki Katana Karate, and I don't know it, and this is why I want 240 frames per second. For little stuff like this, it would be much cooler in 480. I could attack. Sony keeps you in auto... Oh, no, it does not. If you get out of the... Oh, boy. In my opinion, Sony still has the best 240p because there's reliable autofocus in it. It looks pretty sharp. A tiny bit of moire at times, but it's not much. It's good. Most systems, if you press record, you're out of the shot. You're never going to be in the shot. Whereas Sony, eventually it's like, boom, it latches within half a millisecond. It's like, okay, we're in, you're running, all right, let's do this. Whole thing's in focus, and if you want to karate chop your way to a better camera, Sony's going to help you with that. Whereas like Fuji would be struggling, you'd be seeing pulsing in the background. Canon wouldn't even attempt it. Panasonic, you need to hire a focus puller. HD only, come on now. So like Sony, you're still leading the industry, and it disgusts me to say it. Now ironically, all these bee fights are in manual focus, but I find that Sony really does manual focus about as good as anybody can. The peaking's pretty reliable. The focus throw isn't so far that it's impossible to move. We'll get to the replacement lens I was thinking of getting for this. But this is the 90 macro, and it's just the flaps of life in the bee village can be seen by all. And it's just like so fantastic. Like, I've done this at 120 frames per second in 4K. It's not as good. It's not even close. 240 is the minimum. And if you're not doing 480, just get out of my life. You saw my shadow. Oh, you saw it good. So like, this is just so fun to me, and you can totally see the peaking. The lens I was thinking of replacing this 90 macro due to my obsession with 3D pop. We're on the Zeiss Batis, by the way, 25mm Tony 2 side rant. I'm thinking there's one lens that could replace 3 of my lenses. We have the 18mm Batis, 20mm Sony, 25mm Batis. That's stupid to have 3. I was looking at that Voigtlander 21mm 1.4. I'm just tossing it. I don't know if anybody's out there with a basket. If you're gonna catch it now. So I'm debating buying that. I don't know, I've seen it's quite expensive. It's like $1,000, but could I live with that? Maybe. But side rant complete. Oh no, that side rant was, I'm trying to sell it. I bought this for like $980. Wow, I didn't realize how overpriced that was. I just saw someone post it for $580. I'm like, go to hell. Sell that thing, hurry up. Then I can sell mine for $3,000. I have another side rant coming soon. But yeah, I spent a lot of time just getting bees and trying, like, yeah, I should have kneeled down. I think I tried later on, and there's some definite moments, but like, it was just really fun. Like, oh my god, I'm actually manually focusing on a bee. I was too excited to realize that my composition was crap. Here I got more eye level with him, but the background, he's just disappearing into it. This is where like professional wildlife videographers know it's like that background's gonna suck, so I'm not gonna film that. I waste a lot of time. This was the best shot of the bees, and then we'll move on. I got him, he was like super close, and the shadow on the ground, he left, it didn't last long. All those good moments don't usually last very long, just like last night. But just a thing with manual focus, you're not going to autofocus on a bee. I don't care what system you have, nothing has bee detect. Actually, Fuji does, but I doubt it would work. You have to manual focus at some point, and if you get good at it, it's so rewarding. Like, even if you're filming birds, there's always twigs in between. Like, you kind of have to use manual focus at some point. And so systems that switch between autofocus and manual quickly and easily have high marks in my eyes. Now, is 90mm enough reach? Kind of. Sometimes it is, and it's the better shot because you have a 2.8 prime and you're doing totally amazing work on your autofocus and you're tracking a butterfly, and you get much better separation if you're using something like this as long as your subject's close, which he wasn't, nor was he in focus for any of that, but I had fun. And these are the situations that I'll switch into 4K 120 for. I know he's not moving and I want it to be sharper. And yes, there's a place for both. High resolution, but still pretty slow. That's why the Z6 III, 6K 60 RAW, anyone? I would have fun with that. And then you switch into HD 240, huge difference. Fun little dichotomy. The best use for 240 frames per second, of course, is throwing your camera bag up into the air and then hitting it towards your camera with a tripod. And you are the home run. Oh, that's a foul ball. Oh, that is not good. Second attempt, we got boom. That's clearly out of the park. So like, watch your car, hope I didn't crack your windshield. And then I ran to first base and I was safe because Sony had me the whole time. It was the best ever. Thank you, Sony. I actually really love prime lenses for wildlife. In fact, I've made my decision. I am not going to get any zoom ever again. My next system, I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be a prime for sure. So it's either Fuji, the 500mm, 5.6. If Sony comes out with something, an 800mm Tony 8, I'd pounce. Or Nikon, I don't know, if the Z6 III is worthy, then I'll consider you as a distant third option. But once you get used to where to point your camera, like this is obviously 90mm, very easy to find your subject, but like even an 800mm, once you get used to it, it's like, oh yeah, I point it, you line up the top of the lens hood, it's like, yes, I got my subject, and then that's fun times. I think 800 might be a bit much, but 600 prime, that's probably the sweet spot. Last interesting thing I saw, super yellow bird. Oh wow. He had black markings on him, in focus for some of this. He got into my shot. I don't know what that is, but it's something for sure. And he's yellow, and I like that. I like that hard. Man, sometimes I love seeing something I haven't seen before or in a long time. It's like, oh, that's super rare, that's fun. Totally nailing manual focus on this. At moments, I do get it. Admit that. So, we got a bird with a 90mm macro. That's what you want to use for birds. Now to the second side rant. I was debating switching this lens out for the Voigtlander 110mm 2.5. It's not only 20mm longer, but also tiny bits of a ton more. So like, and Voigtlander 3D pop, could you even imagine it? But as I was researching that lens, the manual focus throw is like 100 yards and it extends out like 15 feet. It's terrible. Whereas this, like, that's a deal breaker for me. When I'm manual focus, it has to be like pretty quick. Sony's the best at that. From what I've seen, it's a bit sensitive sometimes. It's like one little movement and you go too far, but I find it's easiest when it's like that. It's nice and sensitive. So that Voigtlander lens, unfortunately, is out as an option. So as I wait in my living room, decaying due to time, waiting for the Sony a7S IV or someone else to beat the a7S III, my bones crack, my face wrinkles, and I lose motivation to even wonder why I'm looking for a better camera, because there is never going to be. We're just in standard color science. Dynamic range 5, for some reason I should tweak that probably, but there's a light back there. I poked my arm just now, that felt awkward. I'm gonna spend the next 3 weeks recovering. Are you buying this stuff through my affiliate links? You're not. Ton of shirts are available. So grab my money.